I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I meet Thomas Jefferson, I'ma compel him to include women in the sequel. Work! Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now.
Mom, you ready?
I hope so.
Okay, so how much do you think you know about the women's rights movement?
Some.
Some. Okay. How much do you think you know about the women's rights movement?
Probably not a whole lot.
How much do you think you know about the women's rights movement?
I guess a medium amount?
Okay.
I don't know.
How much do you think you know about the women's rights movement?
Yeah, I know. Very, very little.
Abolition is working towards freeing slaves.
Give me a quick definition of temperance.
It's against like drinking and drunkenness.
Oh,
and
okay, alcohol.
Yes. Yeah, that's essentially.
Okay.
True or false? Many of the women who started the movement had never done any reform work at all before.
I'm betting that's true.
I'm gonna say true.
True.
Did say that's true.
It's actually false. A lot of women were involved in the abolition and temperance movements even before the women's rights movement started.
Oh, excellent.
True or false? Women were key contributors for the abolition movement.
True.
That I do know is true.
Yes, true.
True, sure.
Yes. The American Anti-Slavery Society welcomed women as active participating members, although they were not allowed to vote within the society.
Okay, great. Women are voting now, people. Times have changed.
What event inspired the start of the women's rights movement?
Something about a woman running for president, but she couldn't vote comes to mind, but I'm betting it started before that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I actually don't know this.
Exclusion of women at the 1840 World Anti-Slavery Convention, where men got together on the first day and voted and decided that women wouldn't be allowed for the rest of the 10-day convention, even though many even traveled to London to go to the convention but weren't allowed.
Ah, so yeah, it was before.
Yeah. Despite many women having gone to London specifically for the convention. Who were the two women that started the movement?
I'm betting it was the sisters you've mentioned, but I don't remember their name.
I'm not at all like that. I have absolutely no clue.
Katie Stanton and Elizabeth, what's her name?
I have zero clue.
Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Stanton.
Elizabeth Stanton.
Yeah,
Their name I know.
they met at the convention where they weren't allowed, and they shared a mutual anger over not being allowed in.
Good. Like, anger can bring people together and bring people apart.
What was the Seneca Falls Convention?
It was, I think, the first national declaration of, women's rights and we want to vote and that kind of stuff.
My last year's social studies teacher, basically, he did a thing where whenever he would say either Seneca Falls or women's rights movement, we had to repeat the other one.
That was a meeting where they tried to write a women's rights constitution kind of thing.
A place at Seneca Falls, that's a convention.
Convention organized by Lucretia and Elizabeth, and after the World Anti-Slavery Convention. It was also the start of the women's rights movement. It was the very first convention and the very start of it.
Okay.
It was attended by both men and women.
Yeah, guys, stand up for us.
Yeah. True or false, it took Lucretia and Elizabeth 8 years after their initial meeting to finally have their convention.
I hope not, but it sounds like it'd be true.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. True.
I sincerely doubt that's so false.
It's true.
Right.
It took them 8 years to get there. It's true.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it took them
It
8
took
years.
8 years.
Yep. How's that for procrastination?
How's that for... Wait, hold on. Was it procrastination?
Or I don't really know why.
Like,
it took
were
them
they
8
just
years.
waiting?
I don't know why it
were
took
they
them 8
trying
years.
to and it just wasn't happening?
I honestly don't know why it took 8 years. Okay. I couldn't find that anywhere. What was the Declaration of Sentiments?
Was it their this is what we want to accomplish with this convention list.
Was that like a declaration of the rights they wanted to have?
That was where they sit down what they wanted to get, I guess, or?
People saying we need to let girls do stuff.
It was a document written by Lucretia and Elizabeth, who brought it to the convention and had it voted on there. Listed a bunch of women's grievances and 12 resolutions to said grievances.
Want a
We
revolution?
hold these truths to be self-evident that all
are
men are created equal.
And
And when I meet Thomas Jefferson,
uh.
I'm gonna compel him to include women in the sequel.
What?
Yeah! Which of the following is not true about the Declaration of Sentiments? 1. It nearly did not include the right to vote as a resolution. 2. It was based off of the Declaration of Independence. 3. It was signed by a majority of the attendees. Or 4. Many of the original signers removed their names due to social backlash.
Number 3.
I want to say the third one.
I don't know. Number 3.
4. It was signed by only 100 of the 240 people who attended.
Okay, because they couldn't agree on it, probably.
Yeah. Only 4?
I'm guessing.
You're the only one who's gotten that wrong. Dad guessed and he still got it right.
Great.
It's okay, it was supposed to be a tough question. I'm surprised everybody else
Yeah.
got it right. True or false? Elizabeth Stanton ran for Congress in 1866 and lost.
There's a part of me that wants to say false because I think she won, but I'm going to say it's true.
False.
True.
True.
It's true. It's true.
Oh,
Yeah, she ran in 1866 and
I
lost.
thought it was going to be like a different year.
Oh no. What were bloomers and who created them?
Bloomers were a women's version of pants that they wore under their skirts. And I want to say it was Susan B. Anthony who created them.
I've heard of them. They were like basically pants, but for women.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember who created them or thought of them, but I know they were advertised in like this magazine that they published, basically.
They're kind of pants, aren't they?
I have no idea, and I have no idea.
Bloomers were an outfit of baggy pants and short skirts
Oh.
adopted by the women of the movement. They were created by Elizabeth Smith Miller, who was inspired by some European fashions that were worn by Fanny Kemble. I have no idea who Fanny Kemble is. True or false? Amelia Bloomer had nothing to do with bloomers.
Well, you kind of think she did because they're called bloomers. So there's got to be some connection in there. So, false.
True.
True.
I'm gonna say true.
She popularized them by wearing them and defending them in her newspaper, The Lily.
There we go.
She also wore them for 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the same pair.
While wearing them for 8 years, The
Somebody
Lily.
wear for 8 years?
Bloomers. She also wore them for 8 years.
Right. Okay.
Which of these was not something the women's rights movement pushed for? Coeducation, suffrage, divorce equality, marriage equality, or equal pay?
We're still fighting for equal pay. I'm going to say not education, not coeducation.
Co-education.
Equal pay?
I'm gonna say marriage.
Marriage equality?
Yeah.
It's actually a trick question. The answer is none of the above. They
Oh.
fought for all of those.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did. I thought that was really cool that there were like so many things.
And we're still fighting for them.
Yep.
Often.
Not suffrage, thankfully.
Oh, yeah.
We get
thankfully.
that.
When do
It's actually a trick question. The
Oh,
answer is none of the above. Yeah, I know. Everybody
not
knows the
bad.
answer simply.
No.
So, it's a trick question. They wanted
Oh.
all of them. Trick question. It's none of them.
Oh my God, Heather!
Who was Susan B. Anthony and what did she do?
Susan B. Anthony is probably, well, I don't think she was the first, but she's the most well-known suffragette. And I believe she went to go vote and had to be arrested or something like that, or was forced not to vote.
I know Susan B. Anthony was a major contributor to the women's rights movement.
She was a women's rights advocate, but I don't know exactly what she did.
The only person I've ever heard about in the women's rights movement before today.
She did a lot of campaigning and organizing conventions and publishing in newspapers and publishing the actual newspapers. But she joined the women's rights movement when she was not allowed to speak at Sons of Temperance meetings. True or false? Susan B. Anthony worked as a teacher in New York for several years and pushed for equal pay between teachers.
That I want to say is true.
I'd say that was true.
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 Yep, entirely true. She worked in Kenajahari Academy.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a name I've heard before. True or false? The women's rights movement was unified in honoring suffrage as a national right.
As much as I think it should have been, I doubt it was true.
I really hope that's true.
True.
I'm gonna say true.
The National Women's Suffrage Association, which was actually started by Susan B. Anthony, fought for a national amendment, but there was the opposing American Women's Suffrage Association, which did not want a national amendment to the Constitution. American Women's Suffrage Association fought against it. They did not want a national amendment for suffrage. False. True or false? There were no laws preventing women from voting, at least in the Constitution.
That I'm gonna say is false.
True. It wasn't actually, the women were not specifically eliminated.
I think it's true.
I don't think there was, so true.
True. And many women, including Susan B. Anthony, went to vote and either got jailed or were refused entry to voting. Susan B. Anthony, I know specifically, was fined $100 and then refused to pay it, and amid all this kind of social rioting, they dropped the charges on her.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of controversy and the charges ended up getting dropped.
Intelligent judge, right?
How
Okay,
old was
I'm
Susan when the 19th Amendment was passed? Was she 70, 80, 90, or dead?
I thought she had passed before it was ratified. I thought she had died.
Dead.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna guess dead.
She was 90.
She was 90. Oh, she,
was
was
90,
alive.
Yeah.
Yay, okay. I thought there was somebody else who had died then before it was ratified. Okay.
Who were Sarah and Angelica Grimke?
I don't know.
I really don't know.
You heard the name because
I
I've
heard
said
the
it
names
before.
because of you. Yes.
Yeah.
Sisters.
Sisters who were famous for being the first abolitionists to also promote women's rights.
So before Susan B. Anthony.
Before the women's rights movement started, they kind of incorporated it into their other work.
Ah.
And it got her banned from her hometown. This all up. If you lived back then, would you have been in the women's rights movement, do you think?
I really like to think I would have been. I know myself as a young person, teenager. I really like to fit in. I like to be accepted. That was very important to me. But in growing and having daughters of my own, that has changed my view a lot. And I like to think, if not necessarily for myself, for future women, I would stand up.
If you had lived during this time period, do you think you would have been in the women's rights movement?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, I think so.
If you were alive in this time, do you think you would have been part of the women's rights movement?
Heck yeah!